Okay. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Let me just make sure I can hear myself as I normally do. Okay. How's the stream coming through? Okay. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. Let's see how this evening goes. Okay. Cool. Just making sure things are going. I'll just have to make sure. What am I doing? Clicking here. No, not that. All right. It says I'm connected. All right. Cool. Let's keep it that way. All right. Awesome. So we got that sorted out. All right. Just have to make sure everything is nicely connected. All right, so pop that in there. Open this up. Open up that. That goes on there and do believe that is pretty much it. So what we're going to do is just need to post one thing over. And then we can get going. Okay, sweet. So that's there, going live. What is this? How to build dashboards in Drupal. And I normally turn off my Wi-Fi and I'll go straight through Ethernet, but I forgot to turn off my Wi-Fi, but I'm connected. So hopefully, if anything happens, Ethernet's going to take over. Let's hope. Okay, got that going. And start the recording. Start the recording on this end. And that's it. And then we can get going. Okay, selecting the right one, 3, 2, 1, and we're good to go. All right, perfect. So, yes, everything's recording, everything's looking good. I think we are ready. Awesome. So if you have any questions, chuck them in. Be more than happy to help out. Now, the YouTube stream is the most stable. So if you want to stick to it, head over there. All right, well, before we get into it, I just want to quickly mention that if you want to learn more about Drupal, head over to webwash.net. And I've got a bunch of tutorials here. And what I've started to do is also put in the premium live streams ad-free from this tab. But something that I've also been doing, and I'm going to flesh it out a bit more, is like I do have the courses here, but I'm starting to group them as well. So just getting a whole bunch of the streams in these like course styles. But they are the full streams themselves. They can go ahead and view them. So you can see here, if you want to learn about fields and content types, we have over 6.5 hours. When it comes to search, we have 3 hours, just over 3 hours. And so the plan is to kind of break these out and then fix them up and yeah, have a lot more of the live streams available. I do need to update the AI and the AI automators, I think, because yeah, I think this week Drupal AI 1.3 came out. So there is a lot to cover. Anyway, that's for another stream. But if you want to support the channel, head over there, join a community. There's also a forum. Yes, a forum. I do like forums. I'm a bit old school when it comes to that. I can't be sitting in chat all day, where I can help you out. So if you want to learn more about Drupal, head over to webwash.net. Okay, so we might as well just get right into it. So, dashboards. Dashboards are like, what are they? They're like the equivalent of a carousel. Whenever you show it to a client, you know, clients love carousels when you're talking about websites, but when it comes to like SaaS applications and back-end systems, dashboards are the rage. Everyone likes a nice dashboard, a nice chart, a nice table. And believe it or not, in Drupal, you can easily create them thanks to the aptly named dashboard module. So tonight we're going to be taking a look at how to use the dashboard module. Now, dashboard actually comes with Drupal CMS. So if you've installed Drupal CMS and when you log in straight away, you get redirected to a page which is in a grid and you've got, I think, what is it? The My Content. That is the dashboard module. But today I'm going to be using Drupal core, good old vanilla Drupal for this. And so we're going to be looking at using dashboard to just give ourselves a nice UI in the back end that we can get redirected to when we log in. And then I want to cover how to add in some data visualization, and we're going to use the charts module for this. Now, I have covered charts in the past, so I do have a lengthy video on using charts. And I can see a few people in YouTube are saying hello. Well, hi there and welcome. Please bring in your comments. If you have any questions, Drupal questions, just send them over. I'm more than happy to answer them. I do love the conversations that we have during these streams. So we will be setting up the charts module, and we're going to be just doing a very basic setup of it because I have covered charts in the past, as I mentioned, and I do have a full-on live stream about it. And then we're going to take a look at finally views data export, because so many times when you get these great looking dashboards, you want to be able to export that data out. And thanks to views data export, we can easily do that. And it's very simple to set up. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay. So here is my stock standard Drupal site. You can see that it's still sporting the good old Olivero theme. And I have installed Gin as the backend. And oh, by the way, I do believe that the Gin has been moved into Drupal core. And so in the next version of Drupal, it will be available. And it is called, I think they're calling it just admin theme. So that's going to be interesting to see how things go with that. Okay, so here I've got a standard Drupal site and I've just added in a bit of test content. So what I want to do is, first of all, let's take a look at the dashboard module. Now, there are a few other modules out there that help you with dashboard, but to create these type of dashboards. But I do believe that dashboard is the best for it because, well, it's named dashboard because I remember hearing one time usability of a module starts with the name. When you Google how to create a dashboard in Drupal, this is one of the first modules that appears. And the fact that it's been added into Drupal core means that, it's been vetted and people use it. And so if you use if you use Drupal CMS, then you are already using it. So to get started is pretty straightforward. Grab the latest version. I do believe, I have no idea what the difference is, but just grab the latest one. Like, both work with, well, Drupal 11.2 and up. So I'll just go with the latest. I'll grab this. And where is my terminal? I'll clear that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run ddev composer require, because I'm using ddev here for my local environment. And if I go there and simply download it, it's going to go ahead and download the module for us. And if we go to extend and then search for, what is it, dashboards or dashboard, you'll see that there is only one module. That is good. There's nothing more scary, especially from a site building experience, when you see 30 odd submodules and you're like, well, which one do I install? There's only one module here, which is good. Just get in there and install it. Go in there and it is installed. Now, setting this up is relatively simple. All you need to do is go to configuration, and you should see here dashboards. Where is that? Where is that? Maybe I need to clear the cache, or no, I need to go into, apologies for that, structure. Yes, you go into structure and then dashboards. And from here, you can create, multiple dashboards. You aren't just stuck with a single dashboard. If we click on add up the top here, let's call this one, what am I going to call it? Default? Yeah, we'll just call it default. And then you can enable it. Well, of course, it's going to be enabled. And if you want, you can go ahead and create another one. And we will create another one later on. But for now, let's just modify this one, okay? And if we click on edit, we can edit our dashboard right here. And this does require layout builder. So just be aware of that. The way you manage all of these blocks and regions is with the layout builder. Now, if you've been using Drupal or you've been keeping track of what's happening in the Drupal world, Drupal Canvas has taken the Drupal world by storm, if you would call it that. Yeah, it's kind of taken it by storm. And Drupal Canvas is kind of like the new layout builder. And a few people might be thinking, well, why do I have to install layout builder if I want to use this? But for now, dashboard does require layout builder. And what we can do is click on add section and we can select our layout. So let's click on 2-column and we'll select 67 by 33. So that means that we do get a nice wide left-hand side, and then we have a narrow right-hand side. And let's just click on save blocks there. And if we click on edit again, we can see a preview. Well, there's nothing there. And also we can control the permission of the dashboard as well. And so you can give certain roles access to specific dashboards. Now, if you do have multiple dashboards, okay, I do believe that you will be given access depending on the weight of the dashboard. So if we come along here, where is it? Dashboard. You can see that you can reorder it. So whichever one appears first, that is the first one that you'll see. And also, if you've got access to it, then you will see it as a tab. And I'll show you that in a second. But let's go ahead and quickly add in a few items. So what we can do is if we click on add block, and then from the right hand side, let me just make sure my head isn't covering it. Is it? Oh no, it's not covering it. It's okay. From the right hand side, we can see a few blocks. Okay, so we do have just the standard Drupal blocks, which is good, but then we do have a few up the top here, such as the content. This is, I think, the main one where you get like a nice set of blocks where you get a few tables. You can search for things. You can even let's add in another block. I think we can probably add in user content. If we scroll down, we can see then my content. So if I am editing a bunch of content, I can then see my stuff. And then from the right-hand side, let's add in, what do we want to add in? Tools, right? Let's add in tools. Is it tools? It's one of these ones. Yeah, this one looks good. Okay, we can add in that. So click on save, and now now straight away we've got like this nice set of blocks right here. And also remember, you can have multiple sections. So what we can do is we can come down here add another section, add a single column, and then grab this block. Wait, did I add that in? Oh, no, I didn't. I have to click on add section, then add this block into that section, and that one goes full width. So then if I scroll all the way down, I get a nice one that goes full width. So this is just standard layout builder stuff. So if you've used layout builder in the past, yeah, this is the stuff that you can do. And honestly, layout builder is pretty useful. I kind of forget when it's styled nicely, layout builder is surprisingly good. And the ability to put in a layout first and then placing your blocks into those layouts, because I've been in Canvas land for like the last 2.5 months. So it's kind of good to see all these layouts, because yeah, Canvas is a whole other thing. Okay, so now for us to access these dashboards, I do believe that if we go to, what's the path? I do believe it's dashboard. Is it dashboard? No, I think it's admin dashboard, but we don't have to worry about that because it automatically gets added right here, okay? So now let's just quickly, well, let me just clear the cache. That's probably what the problem is. Let me just quickly clear the cache. Come along in here, clear the cache. And then before you know it, it is right there. There you go. So that's one thing to be aware of, is that straight away, you won't see this dashboard button unless you clear the cache. Very important, okay? And so straight away, you can see that we do have a dashboard here. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that if you want to edit things here on the left-hand side, you can go to configuration. And where is it? Configuration, and then navigation blocks. And this is something that I only recently discovered. If you click on enable edit mode, you'll see that now we're pretty much using layout builder to manage blocks in the navigation. So if you click on add, you'll see right here on the other side, which is kind of, everything's on the left-hand side, and then you click on add block and you have to move to the right-hand side. And you can see here we have navigation block. If we click on that and add that one in, we can then just simply move that up. I believe you can move it up somehow. Move. Okay, maybe I just need to click it or something like that. So you can move it up and then move it up the top there. Okay. But in this case, it automatically gets added. But this is good to know that you can add in any type of custom block in the sidebar can be added in. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that. Because then if we click on save now, we do get, well, we've got our block there, but we can add in extra items. Now, if we click on edit again and click on add block, there is this dashboard text. We can just throw in some arbitrary content, but the styling is a little funny. So if we add that there, it looks good here, but you can see that it does go right to the end. But that's just a bit of styling that has to be added. Okay. Now, if we want to add in another dashboard, all we need to do is go into dashboard, click on add a dashboard, and we'll call this one latest content. And if we click on edit, let's add in a full width, and we'll put in users content. So this is latest content, add that in. And then if we go to dashboard, we will see our default, and then we've got our latest content. So you can add in as many dashboards as required. You just add them in. And if you want to reorder them, what you can do is come along in here and just simply reorder them. You can see that latest content is first, and then you have default as well. So there is a lot of functionality when it comes to building out these dashboards. Now, of course, you can build these out by hand if you really want to. But using dashboard actually makes this very, very easy. Now, one of the benefits of using Drupal, I believe, or one of the annoyances of using Drupal, whichever way you see it, is getting access to views. Now, I'm joking when I say annoyances. Views is a very powerful module, but sometimes it can kind of get in the way if you want to build out some type of specific query, especially if you know what type of query you want to build. But just the UI can be a bit of a pain to kind of put all of that together. So now what I want to do is show you how to create a basic block over here on the right-hand side using views, and we're just going to show the latest 5 content or something like that, okay? Very basic. So what we're going to do is let's close up a few tabs. Too many tabs. So what I'm going to do is click on Add View. I'll call this one Dashboard My Content. And I'll select all content. And I'll call this one I'll just create a block, and I'll add the title of, let's call it latest content. And that can be the latest 5, yep. And that's an unformatted list. Okay, so we've got a pretty basic view at this point. So let's do a bit of site building now. If this is the first time you're seeing the views UI, it can be pretty intimidating. But essentially, views is just a fancy query builder. It allows you to just query your content in Drupal. But as I mentioned, sometimes just querying it can be a bit difficult because in your head, especially if you know SQL, it's like, I just want to query this and that. But sometimes it can be just a bit difficult to group things, especially with like aggregation and count and things like that. So let's go ahead now and set this to HTML list. And that's showing the top 5. Let's increase that to, say, the top 10. There we go. And let's put in authored on. So you have authored by and authored on. Authored by is the user that created the content. Authored on is the date that it was created. To me, they're too similar. Okay, so we've got the date and we have the title. But now what I want to do is kind of like merge these two together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of field rewriting. So I want to move that above and then click on title and click on override the output of this field with custom text. Because what this allows us to do is that we can just chuck in any bit of text, or we can use these placement patterns or tokens essentially, or they're essentially twig variables. And we can grab the title, and then we've got the created date, okay? Now be aware that we can only select fields that are above our field. So that is why, let me just put this in there. That is why I moved authored on above. So let's just imagine you have 10 odd fields, which is pretty common for a view. And if you want to group fields together and display them in a specific way, like I just did, the fields that you want to add into the title field need to be above the title field to be available. And that's actually mentioned here. Oh no, where is it? Right here. No, due to rendering order, you can't use fields that come after this field. So just be aware of that. All right, so if we check this out, okay, we can straight away see our title and date. And to get rid of the double, because you can see that there are 2 dates there, we can just exclude from display. Now this doesn't remove it as a token. It just simply excludes it from the display. And if we click on save, now we get this nice looking list item. Now, believe it or not, you can put in, we come along in here, you can put in if statements as well. So you can add in conditional logic in your views. But this is where you need to be very careful. With great power, oh man, I've probably used that term so many times. Oh, sorry for banging the mic. I've probably used that term so many times when it comes to views. Yes, views allows you to put in all this logic in this field, but just be mindful of the next site builder or next developer that has to come along and fix his stuff up. Because I've had situations where a block was doing something and I was trying to figure out, where is this custom logic? Where is it coming from? And I was searching the code base, but in this instance, I don't think the config was exported out. So it wasn't coming up in Google, in like the searching through VS Code or PHP Storm. And it wasn't until I dug a little deeper and I realized, oh, it's probably some custom logic in a view. And and on this project, there was a lot of custom logic. And the problem is that if you come and edit this view, nothing tells you that, oh, by the way, if you if you click on title, there's a lot of custom logic in here. Nothing kind of notifies you. Of course, you could probably put in an administrative title, which you should. You could say title with twig. And that just makes that just helps. And see, there is this funny bug that the bottom doesn't pop up as well. Anyway, and then straight away you can see, okay, you could put a bit of text in here which says, here be dragons, the good old saying on the maps, right? Where you just have to be careful that in this field there is custom logic. So just be aware of that. All right, so we've added that in. We've customized our view. And now to add this to the dashboard, all you need to do is just refresh. And let's go edit our layout, click on add block, and we should find right here, dashboard, my content. That should be latest content. Click on add. And now we've got our latest content right here. And there you go. So you can give your editors some pretty powerful dashboards. How easy was that? Now, of course, that's all thanks to Drupal and views and block system and all that. But this dashboard is coming along very nicely, and it is looking pretty good. Okay, so at this point, we've added in the dashboard, we've configured it, we've added our layouts, we've added our blocks, we've also created a custom block and added it to the right-hand side. Now let's go ahead and add in some data visualization, because nothing makes a dashboard pop than a few nice charts or some pie charts or column charts or whichever chart you want to use, really. Okay, so the module that we're going to use for that is called, aptly named, charts. See, usability of a module starts with a name. So true. If you want to build charts out in Drupal, use the charts module. It is that simple. Now, this module is pretty powerful, okay? And I would call it, it's more of a, it is kind of like a framework for managing charts in Drupal, because what it allows you to do is that it handles the charting. Like it's essentially like a charting API, and then you can build out your charts in views or in code, and it's got an API for it. And then you install a submodule, which then outputs it using a specific charting library. And you can see here that we have chart.js, Google Charts, High Charts, what is it? Apex Charts as well. There's a lot here you can do. Now, the one that I'm going to use tonight quickly is just Google Charts because you can pull that in via a CDN. But with the other ones, you do need to download the libraries. And as I mentioned, I've got a whole separate live stream on just this module. But for tonight, we're just going to get it working quick and easily. So to begin, what you want to do is scroll all the way down and grab well, if you're on Drupal 11, which you should be, just grab 5.1, which is whichever one's the latest. And if I jump over here and type in ddev, I will be able to go and download that. Perfect. Now, if I jump over to extend, all right, there's a comment here in YouTube. You can pull in all of them with CDN. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was just Google Charts, but it's not. But it's not best practices. Yes, if you are setting this up on a proper Drupal site, then you want to handle the libraries locally. But for this case, we're just going to pull it in through a CDN. So now if I type in charts and install the charts module, and of course charts block because I want to add a basic chart into the dashboard, and then I'm just going to install Google Charts as well. And you can see that there are a few here, a few other submodules that you can use to integrate other charting libraries, and there are then other modules on Drupal.org right here that you can use to integrate this stuff, even more stuff as well. So if you're looking for some type of charting system, you are in luck in Drupal. Okay, so we've got all of that. Let's go ahead and install it. It's all installed. And now what we can do is let's go to dashboard. And what I need to do is I need to bring up one other thing. Give me a moment. Okay, there we go. All right. And what I'll do is I'll click on edit and click on add blocks. And then straight away, you will see this charts block. If you can't see it, make sure you install the submodule. And what I'm going to do is add this in, and I'll select here Google as the charting library. Now this UI, it takes a bit of getting used to be honest. But instead of putting in all of the rows and the actual data itself, I'm just going to upload a CSV file. So here I've got a CSV file, and it's very basic. It's just got tech, installs, and installations. This is all just fake data. I just made it up essentially. And what I'm going to do is move it over there and click on upload CSV. And what that's going to do is that is going to pre-populate all the data. So you don't have to manually do that. And you can do all of that through here. And also, if you were to add a block into a specific region, you can manage it all from here. And if we click on preview, you've got this little preview thing, and click on update preview, you do get straight away an example. Now let me put in Pi because I want to add this to the right-hand side. I do believe you can also change the colors here as well, but let's give this a little, perhaps a different color. Click on that. There you go. It's a different color right there. And we can put in, what is it? Installs, add tooltips or something like that. Scroll down, click on add block. And now if we move this up, we get a nice this nice pie chart right here. And this looks, this looks pretty nice. I must admit, it looks very, very professional. Now, if we want to add in another chart, let's edit this and let's add it into the left-hand side. Again, I'll select the chart. I'll click on Google, and this time we'll select columns. I'll bring this out a bit more. Where is that? Come on, come on, come on. Oh, wait, there it is. There it is. Oh, okay. I'll pull in. Where's my CSV file? My trusty CSV file. There we go. Let's upload that. That's in there. Perfect. And let's select column. Yeah, why not? That looks okay. Let's throw that in, add that in, and we could easily move that up the top. And we've got a good looking chart right there. There you go. And if you want to go full width, there you go. You can throw that in there and you have a nice big, what is it, hero chart right at the beginning. When somebody logs in, they can see all the stats. See all these numbers, which is actually pretty cool. This is really starting to look like a nice little SaaS application. Yeah. It would be good if there was like a Shatsian UI for backend of Drupal. And yeah, that would be very useful. All right, so we've got a comment on LinkedIn. Hello there. Oh, I don't even have my LinkedIn opened up. Shane? Okay. All right, there's a comment. Is that Drupal 11.3? Yes, it is. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, it is Drupal 11.3. It's just the latest version of Drupal, whichever one that is. But this is just standard Drupal core. So just standard Drupal core. So at this point with the charts, yes, we have kind of hard coded things. Okay. We've cheated. Absolutely. We have hard coded it. It's not that useful if you're just uploading a CSV file. I'm sure there's probably use cases for it. And you can probably, I'm sure there might be a use case for it. And, but let's now go ahead and create a few charts using views. So it's pulling out data right out of Drupal. Now, this one's going to be fun because, yeah, sometimes views can be a little bit difficult to work with when you're dealing with aggregation and count and things like that. So let's have a bit of fun, shall we? Let's have a bit of fun. Because, views is a query builder, but sometimes you know what type of query you want, but just implementing it in views can be difficult. All right. We do have a question here. Okay, question. How do you know? Okay, do you know how many projects use Post Office or Symphony mailer modules? I need to style some mails with Twig. I'm not sure. I don't know off the top of my head how many projects use. I don't think I've ever used Post Office. Symphony mailer is kind of the de facto standard now for setting up SMTP. And when it comes to styling mail, I mean, you do have Drupal CMS uses, what's it called? Easy email templates, I think, for styling. Take a look at the way Drupal CMS does it. But yeah, I don't know exactly how many projects use it. All right. So let's go to views now. And before we do anything, I want to go to settings and turn on the query because SQL query preview is pretty useful. All right, so we've got that sorted out. There's a comment here. Sorry, I've seen you show how many projects use CTools, for example. Oh, okay. Well, then just go to the project and click on the installs. I believe you can access it that way. All right, so if where is it? Where is my notes here? All right, cool. So let's go to add. And what we're going to do now is just create a, well, let's create a pie chart first because I do like a nice pie. And this one can be called, let's call this one content. No, content, what is it? Content count by content type. Why not? Call it something like that. And we do have chart, but let's just leave that for now. And what we're going to do, let's click on add. And let's just display all of it because what I have is I do have content here. And I've got a whole bunch of test content. And what I want to do is just get a pie chart to show how much content I have by content type. And that's it. So I want to know I've got 50 basic pages, 10 articles. How many do I have? No, I've got probably what? 23 I can see here of article, basic page, 50. Okay, there you go. I've got 50. And everything, okay? So the first thing we need to do is turn on aggregation because we are going to go into do a count. But one thing to be aware of is that you need to turn off then sort because it's going to break the actual aggregation. So you want to remove sort, and then you want to turn on aggregation. And let's search for content type. And we'll leave that one set to group results. Let's turn off links. And for title, well, no, actually, let's remove title because what we do need is ID. So let's go along in here and grab the ID of the content. And this one needs to be count. And if we scroll down, there we go, we get a nice count. So we've got article, which is 23, and then we've got basic page, which is 50. Now, one thing to be aware of when I was saying that views can be a little funny. So yeah, we can go ahead and save it, which is great. But if you now come along in here and change this to, you'll notice that it's not quite working. And it's just, I don't know if this is a views bug. This has happened a few times in, when I've been testing this stuff out. If you want to change the aggregation option here, because think about it, okay? It's not working. If we come along in here, where is it? Network. Boom, boom, boom. You'll see, okay? It's failing, it's erroring out. So what you then need to do is just essentially remove the field and add it back in. But for us, we're happy with count. That's okay. Okay, we've got that. Now, we can now come to chart. And we need to select then Google. Okay. List one must be selected. Okay. So we've selected our option. And then what we need to do is we select our label, which is going to be the content type. So if it's basic page or title, and the data is going to be the count. So you can see here that the data provides data. It comes from here. However, one thing you need to be aware of. So if we apply, is it going to show? Yeah, you will get this error. Okay, not enough columns given to draw the requested chart. What you essentially just need to do is you just need to give it a label. So what we're going to do is call this one count. And up the top here, call this one content type. And then now it should work straight away. Okay. So you've got a count and you've got your content type. So what we're going to do is let's go back here and change this to high. And we can give, give that a different color. Let's, I don't know, give it enable tooltips. And if we scroll down, then we can see our different, our actual pie right here. Then if we click on save, all we need to do now, is go to our dashboard. Let's edit this out. Let's remove this one. And what's this one called? Blocks. No, it's called content count by content type. And we move that up. And right now, well, let's configure that again. Sorry. Let's do content count. There we go. Add that in. And this is now dynamic. This is 100% dynamic. You can go in there, make your changes, and it is querying and it is displaying dynamically. And that was all thanks to views. Now we can also do something similar with tags. So let's just imagine we want to display, have a count of how many articles are tagged by, well, how many articles, yes. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Let's now group content by tag, meaning that I want to see a tag and how many articles are using that tag. And we can use this column chart for it. So normally, you could create another display, but sometimes that can get a bit too much where it gets, it gets pretty difficult to maintain. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this view because this is pretty much very similar to what I want. So we can do content group by tags. Call this one group by tags and duplicate. Okay. Group by tags. And right now it is just displaying that. But what we want instead is, let's go ahead and get rid of this one. And what I'm going to do is search for tags and group it. And I'll call this one tags. And let's fix that up. So that's all correct. That is all correct. And now if we come along in here, there we go. We've got tags there. We have count. And let's do, what is it? Columns. And we'll click on apply and we'll scroll all the way down and we should see, okay, so we have a few that aren't there. Okay, oh, the count, that is the basic page. So let's go ahead and put in a filter so that it only displays article. There you go. So you can see, we can see exactly, okay, now this is, now I'm using Devel generate for this. So, the words are just made up. Well, all words are made up technically. And you can see that 10 articles, 10 articles are using this tag. And if we go in there and save it, and let's go ahead and edit this, and let's get rid of this chart, and then click on add block, and we should see group by tags, add that in, and we've got a nice little chart right there that we can use to see exactly how many articles are using a specific tag. And this is all dynamic. This is all dynamic coming out of views, and we are simply querying it directly from our site. So at this point, we have our dashboards and we have our charts. The last thing that a nice dashboard needs in my humble opinion, is just the ability to export content out. And there are a few ways of doing that, but one way I want to show you is with views data export, because we are already using views. And this is the thing about Drupal. Once you understand how to use some of its core modules, things just open up, okay? Things just open up drastically. And, it gives you the ability to just create all sorts of stuff because you understand the basics of it. Because if you understand how to use views to query your content, straight away you can create charts, you can create Google Maps, you can create a listing, you can create a grid, you can create all sorts of stuff. All right, there's a comment here. Well, a few comments here. Didn't see that. Apologies. Okay, question. Okay, I need 2 charts. Thought about using 2 content types. 2 dashboards with layout builder. Okay. What advantages does dashboard module have over that? Could the same be built with layout builder or display builder? All right. Well, there's 2 parts to that. Well, I'll probably answer that in 2 parts. First of all, when it comes to creating a dashboard, if you just are you going to have any custom fields on the patient and doctor content types? Or that really depends, because what you can do is you can have multiple dashboards right here and you just give access based off a role. But the benefit of doing it this way is that it's integrated with the backend. So straight away out of the box, users, even I do believe once they log in, they automatically get redirected to the dashboard. So it straight away gives you that functionality. And using layout builder, well, this is technically layout builder as well. But I can see benefits of having your own content type, especially if you want a dashboard for patients or doctors, because you may want a a possible doctor on your site to manage some data by editing their own doctor dashboard. Well, if that's the case, if you're going to have specific data for that doctor that needs to be managed and then just displayed in a nice dashboard format, then I would probably create a content type and then get them to manage that. But with this dashboard module, other than adding in blocks into a layout, that is all you can do. Okay. If I wanted to now modify the dashboard and have some data attached to my user account, you can't really do that. So there is a limit with that. Yep. What is it? Could the same be done with layer builder or display builder? I mean, yeah, you could essentially build the same stuff out with display builder. Absolutely. You could even do the same with canvas if you really wanted to, but they are done differently. All right. Maybe it's possible. Okay. There's another comment here. Maybe it's possible to add like a panel control with several buttons. You could, but as long as you build out a block that does that, then yes, you can. So how you build out that block is up to you. So you could create a custom block with those buttons, and then you can add them in and then just add the block into a region and then just add it in yourself. So there are options. But no, they are great questions. Great questions. Okay. So what we're going to do is look at views data export for managing and exporting out data. And this is actually pretty easy. So we're going to just use CSV because that's the easiest to deal with, but you can export data in Excel, JSON, XML. And what I'm going to do is scroll all the way down and grab the composer command. Let me clear this. And just download it. We can see that we have the serialization and we automatically get this CSV package. go back here. Let's go to extend and views data export. I believe there's only one module, and that does just work out of the box with CSV, which is great. Yep. So that's all set up. And now what we can do is just go to our actual view. Now, the good thing is with views data export is that you essentially attach it as a display to an existing view. Because what that then gives us, the ability to have a little button on the block which just says CSV, and you click on that and it just exports the data out. But best of all is that you don't have to recreate the query again in views because it is just the display, and so the display inherits the query. Now, if you've never used views before, that might be a little confusing, but essentially what views allows you to do is that you can have multiple displays of the same view and the same queried content here as well. So essentially you don't have to set up your filtering again, set up your sorting again, set up your fields or your contextual filters. And this is where views can get pretty complex. And with one click, sometimes you can break a view. So always back it up. But what we're going to do now is come along in here and we should see data export. There it is, right there. Okay. And it creates this little display. And let's create a path here. We'll call this one data-export. And I'll just click on download immediately. Now, of course, if you're setting this up on a proper Drupal site, please pay attention to this, especially if you're dealing with private data. That's the other thing to be aware of. If you are allowing authenticated users to download information that you don't want publicly available, you have to make sure that you set up your private file system correctly. And this will download it into the private file system and then make sure that the user has access and that all that stuff is set up correctly. All right, so we've set up our export right here. And then what we need to do is simply attach it. So right now, if we save it, it's not going to appear unless we just go directly to data-export. But what I want to do is attach it to the block. Okay, that is this block content type up the top right here. And if we come along in settings here, you will see straight away that this has been overridden. So if we go to block, you will see format chart. If we come to data export, it straight away says data export, which is correct. If we go to settings, we can select exactly how we want to export it out and also a few options. Just keep that as it is. And then you've got your actual data that you want exported out. And if you scroll down, you should see a nice preview of exactly what needs to be exported out. And best of all, if we make a change here and add in another field on the block for charts, for example, it'll automatically become available here because these fields are shared across multiple displays. We don't have to recreate it. That's the benefit of that. And also things like filter criteria. If you haven't overridden it, because if we click on it, you will see this ability to override it. If you haven't overridden it, then you just have to modify this once, and then the change propagates across multiple displays. So once everything, I believe, is configured, and that's pretty much it. Okay, you do have a few options here, such as like export, where standard just does it in one request, but if you have a lot of content, it might time out, then you may want to use batch API for that. But I believe that is it. Click on save, and now if we go to our dashboard, we should see this CSV button. Now, of course, this CSV button could probably be styled a little bit better. You could always go in there and just modify it and, I don't know, do whatever you want. I'm sure this is just a template. You will probably want it like an SVG or something. Make it look nice and crisp. But if you click on that, it's just going to go ahead and download it for you. That's it. Okay. And if we, let me move that over there. If I click on it, it is available. And there you go. Now, of course, we can go directly if you want. You can also go directly to what is the data export, and they're just going to download it straight away again for you. So you can easily add in nice exports as well. And you can do the same for views. And this is something to be aware of, okay? If you have a view like this table, for example, where you can filter out your content, you could just come in here, select article. All right, well, there's a deprecation warning there. That's all right. But let's just imagine we come in here, we select article, and we just want to filter out this content right here, and we want to just export out this table right here. Well, because views data export works with views, you can easily have that button there, click on CSV export, and then it'll simply export the filtered content in the table. So that is a benefit of using views data export. I do have I've got a live stream about pretty much everything about Drupal these days. I do have a live stream where I go in depth on using views data export. So if you want to learn more about that, head over to the WebWash YouTube channel, click on, I think, live, and you will find it. Search for views data export. I do have it there. So, I mean, that is pretty much it when it comes to dashboards. As you can see, creating a dashboard in Drupal is relatively simple with a bit of configuration, a bit of back-end clicking, views, charts, and views data export. You do get a nice dashboard setup. But depending on your requirements, and also depending on how customized you want these dashboards to be, mileage may vary. In the past, I've built custom dashboards. I've done it a few ways. In the past, I've worked on projects where they had a lot of custom integration, and the way we've gone around that is just doing it all in JavaScript. That was one way, because I also worked with a team that was mostly front end. So they just built a dashboard, and I worked on it a bit as well, but they built a dashboard using like React, and then we just embedded it into a Drupal site. So you have that option. It just depends how much functionality you want in this dashboard. Because yeah, some of the dashboards out there these days, especially with a lot of the design systems like Shadcn UI. But there was one, where was it? GitHub, what is it? Base coat. This one. So this is a implementation of, the Shadcn UI, but without React. So you can essentially implement this in HTML. And I thought, you know what, this might actually be pretty cool if we can get this working in Drupal. Because imagine getting, where's the kitchen sink here, okay? So you have all of these options. I imagine all of this working as a Drupal theme because the maintainer, I think, takes it out of, converts the React version into a vanilla HTML version. Because if it's HTML, then we can easily convert it into a Drupal site. This stuff's pretty cool. But yeah, man, if we could get this stuff in Drupal, look, it'll look amazing. But the gin theme kind of looks like it. Yeah, kind of. It is pretty nice though. It is pretty nice. But I feel like now every single SaaS application, because Shadcn is like really, really used everywhere, every single SaaS application kind of looks the same. It's kind of like back in the day when Bootstrap was popular. You could spot a when Bootstrap was popular, you could spot a Bootstrap site a mile away, especially with the Jumbotron. The good old days of Jumbotron. These forms are nice, I must admit. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, wait, no, I think that's my browser. I do think that's the browser doing that. Okay. So that is pretty much it. If you need a dashboard system, check out the dashboard module. If you need charts, look no further. Honestly, charts module, even if you're not using it with the dashboard, there is a lot more to the charts module, which I haven't covered. Please check it out. You can attach charts through custom fields. You can attach charts through anything. Like there's just a ton of stuff you can do. Yeah, you've got charts. You can attach charts as fields through blocks, through Twig as well. It is an epic suite of modules, and also exporting out your content using views. Anyway, that is it from me. Thank you so much for joining. If you want to learn more about Drupal, then of course check out WebWash. I do have a bunch of tutorials here. Slowly moving over some of these live streams over, so giving them a nice, trying to create and finding the time to create actual tutorials. I'm doing my part to make sure that AI and the LLMs there have good training data. Because, I do remember seeing an article about, all the technology that these models have chosen. And like 95% of the time when it comes to like a JavaScript application or a JavaScript app, it'll always choose like Next.js. So I'm doing my part to make sure Drupal's, in the mind of the AI anyway. So yeah, let me know if you have any other ideas for other live streams. And yeah, thanks all for joining. I'll catch you all next week. Okay, well, thank you very much for everyone. Hey. Oh, so thank you very much for everyone who came. Please, I'll be here for a bit. If you have any questions, please send them my way. I always love to help. Always love to help. This stuff's pretty cool. Here's base coat. Have a look. How many stars does it have? Oh, nearly 4,000 stars. Okay, it's pretty maintained. Pretty cool. Okay. Hope everyone's having gonna have a great weekend. All right. There you go. All right. Cool. So yeah, the charts module. I really do like this module. This one's pretty cool. What is this? It's another one. Nice, nice, nice. Ah, thanks. Yeah, you too. Have a great weekend. Yeah. Ah, yes, absolutely. Yes, F1. It is. I, I won't be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning my time to watch the sprint tomorrow morning. That's a bit too early for me. Because for me, it's like if I just get up and watch it straight away, then it's okay. Mermaid. I don't know. I think are there modules? Wait, Drupal. I think I've covered. Yeah, you do have this mermaid field. It's maintained. Oh, there you go. Check out this mermaid diagram field. Take a look at that. I haven't used it, but yeah. Doesn't look bad actually. I mean, you could essentially integrate this stuff yourself because it is just a Java, isn't it just a JavaScript library that implements it? So you do have a few options there. Yeah, check that out. I think it's been used in a few. There was a module. I think there was a field state module that I remember using it on. Or no, that the module integrated with Mermaid, but they probably just did their own integration. So that is that. It is going to be interesting to see once this Jin theme is officially released in Drupal core as the default backend theme. It was interesting. I did post a thing saying, "Oh, hey, cool, admin theme has been now committed into core," and straight away a few people were like, "Oh, yeah, that's good, but it is a little buggy and this and that." So I feel like some people aren't that happy with Jin because it's a little buggy. I've had issues every now and then. I do believe, yeah, sometimes, what is it? These buttons, is it these buttons? Like these buttons up the top here on the top right, sometimes they work. I've had issues where if you have multiple, if you've had, if you have a module that modifies a lot of these buttons and modifies the logic in these buttons, it can sometimes break the display on the top right. And that was, which one was it? I, I think it was the feeds module. The feeds module, the button totally did not work. So you couldn't use it you technically can't use it in Drupal CMS because Drupal CMS uses Jin. And there is a patch for it that kind of gets it working. And I got it working. And I was going to do a live stream on it. But I got to a point where I was like, I can't recommend this because I'm going to get comments where people are like, oh, this stuff isn't working. I can't even run the import using feeds. It's like, yeah, because the integration with Jin is broken. So I've had that, but other than that, that's okay. But I do forget sometimes that the button is up the top in the top right. Normally, I'm always like scrolling down, changing it, and looking for it down at the bottom. Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, the left bar on Drupal 10 only works with one configuration. Other ones are buggy. Oh, that's true. Yeah. But I have thought, like, how hard would it be to use this Jin backend theme for like a SaaS application? That would be pretty cool because there are some cool things you can do. And I hope they keep this stuff in here because if you come along in here, you can change, the scheme, the colors and things like that. That is pretty cool. I do like it. You have dark mode. Look at that. Oh, that does look nice. Was it contrast? Wait, what's this contrast? Oh, that's the focus. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And density, yeah, it's pretty cool. So if we go narrow, that means then on the home page, no, what is it? This content page, yeah, this is all going to be squished up. That is the technical term, squished up. That is nice. I do wonder when the whole backend will just be a React application. Essentially, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just like, Canvas, like the Canvas editor is all a JavaScript application. So yeah, because at that point, when you're building out, Canvas components, Canvas code components, which is just JavaScript, and using a JavaScript editor to manage your Canvas pages, then you might as well just rewrite Drupal in JavaScript. I mean, how hard would it be to throw AI at that and to like re-implement it and say rebuild Drupal using JavaScript? Well, then you've got that. What is a payload JS? That's pretty much a CMS built using TypeScript. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining, and whoever's stayed back to hear my rambling about random stuff. I will finish up. It's getting a bit late here. Anyway, thank you very much for joining, and I'll catch you all next week. Take care.